The sky above Earth was calm, a deep blue fading slowly into the warm colors of sunset. People went about their evening routines, some walking dogs, others finishing work, children playing in parks. It seemed like any other day. But no one noticed the tiny flicker far above the horizon, a glimmer that moved against the sun's glow. At first, it was barely visible. A small dot in the sky, so far that most people thought it was a plane or a distant satellite. But then it grew larger, unnaturally so, moving with precision and speed no human craft could ever achieve. News channels began reporting strange sightings, flashes of light, objects appearing out of nowhere. Social media erupted with videos and photos, some blurry, others shocking in their clarity. By the time the first massive ship entered Earth's orbit, millions of people had already stopped what they were doing, staring at the sky in disbelief. The ship was unlike anything humanity had ever seen. It was not shaped like any airplane, rocket, or spaceship from movies or scientific imagination. Its surface shimmered with colors that seemed impossible to describe, constantly changing as if the ship were alive. It was enormous, larger than any city on Earth. In Washington, D.C., military officials scrambled to assess the threat. Satellites and radar systems had detected the ship's approach hours earlier, but no one could have prepared for the sheer scale of what was now hovering above the planet. Scientists and generals alike gathered in the Situation Room, faces pale and tense. "They're enormous," muttered one scientist, his voice barely audible. "Look at the energy readings. It's unlike anything we've ever measured." "They're not just large," said a military officer, pointing at the display showing multiple ships now entering orbit. "They are organized. This is a fleet, not just one ship. Entire civilizations could be crushed by a force like this." Across the globe, similar reactions unfolded. In Tokyo, London, Paris, and New Delhi, citizens watched in awe and fear. Governments issued statements, urging calm, but the reality was clear: humanity had never seen anything like this. The ships were silent, yet they seemed to radiate power. Some analysts described it as a pressure that pressed against the very mind, making people feel small and fragile. Then came the first contact. Without warning, a beam of light shot down from the largest ship above the Pacific Ocean. It hovered over the ocean, scanning the surface below. Soon, a holographic image appeared, stretching across hundreds of kilometers. The aliens projected scenes of distant worlds, planets destroyed, civilizations eradicated, and societies collapsing in flames. Each scene was precise, almost clinical in its display of power. World leaders watched in silence. The holograms spoke in a language humans could not understand at first. Then, as if reading the minds of everyone on Earth, a voice translated itself into thousands of human languages simultaneously. "People of Earth," it said, deep and resonant, a voice that seemed to echo in the bones rather than the ears. "We are the Varyun. We are the conquerors of galaxies. We have destroyed civilizations beyond your imagination. You are small, fragile, and insignificant. You will either join us or be erased from existence." Panic swept through cities. People screamed, cried, and prayed. Military forces scrambled, but even the most advanced missiles and fighter jets seemed like toys compared to the alien ships. The world had faced threats before, but nothing like this, nothing that could bend the sky itself and make the oceans glow with fear. Then, something unexpected happened. A small crowd in a city park began to laugh. At first, it was a few people, unsure and nervous. But soon, more joined. Laughter spread through the crowd, growing louder and louder. Cameras caught it, and soon, millions saw it live. Humans were laughing at the display of galactic power. In the Situation Room in Washington, the tension broke for a moment. Are they laughing?" asked a general, confused. "Why would they?" The scientist shook his head. I don't understand. This is unprecedented." The aliens, of course, noticed. The hologram flickered, and the voice boomed again, angrier this time. "Why do you laugh? Do you not fear death? Do you not respect power?" Still, humans laughed. Some pointed at the holographic scenes, joking about the alien technology. "Hey, their lasers are crooked," one shouted. "Did they forget to turn the aiming system on?" Another added, "Look at that planet. It's exploding like a fireworks show." The aliens' projection shimmered violently. They had never encountered beings that reacted this way. All other civilizations cowered or pleaded. But humans were different. Their laughter was loud, unrestrained, a strange mixture of disbelief, humor, and courage. On the ground, a scientist named Dr. Elena Rivers watched the chaos unfold. She had studied extraterrestrial signals for years, but nothing in her research prepared her for this. Humans were laughing at the most powerful species in the galaxy. It made no sense, yet it was strangely inspiring. "Maybe they don't understand the danger," she muttered to her assistant. "Maybe they think it's a show." The assistant shook his head. "No, they understand. Look at the way they're pointing at the ships. This is deliberate. They are not afraid." Across the oceans, on aircraft carriers and military bases, similar scenes played out. Soldiers, pilots, and officers watched the alien fleet with fear in their eyes, but even among them, small smiles appeared. Humor was the human response, a way of reclaiming courage against overwhelming odds. The Varyan attempted to escalate. A single ship descended closer to a major city, its hull reflecting sunlight like liquid metal. Energy weapons powered up, glowing a menacing blue. The humans paused, uncertain if they were about to face annihilation. But then, someone in the crowd shouted, "Nice light show." And the laughter grew louder. The aliens tried again, this time projecting massive beams into space, creating storms that could have destroyed entire continents. Yet humans reacted with ingenuity rather than fear. Firefighters, engineers, and even children pointed out simple flaws in the beam's patterns. One man in New York quipped, "They forgot to compensate for the rotation of the Earth." The joke spread online instantly, making humans around the globe laugh even harder. The Varyan were confused. Their records, their simulations, all predicted fear, panic, and submission. Yet humans resisted in the strangest way possible. Through humor. Each attempt to intimidate was met with a human response that no alien mind could anticipate. Dr. Rivers realized something crucial. Humans had a trait that no civilization they had studied possessed: unpredictability. Where other species reacted in predictable fear or logic, humans combined courage, creativity, and humor into a shield. It was as if laughter itself became a weapon. Night fell, but the alien ships stayed, hovering like stars on steroids. Cities glowed with lights, and from above, humans were a spectacle of tiny moving dots, seemingly insignificant, yet undeniably alive. Reports flooded in. Humans were singing, dancing, sharing jokes on the streets, and even holding up handmade signs mocking the invaders. For the first time, the Varyan hesitated. Their holograms flickered, and their voice softened slightly, almost as if they were puzzled by this defiance. What are they doing?" The Earth's leaders convened quickly. President Halloran, usually stern and reserved, finally spoke. "We don't know what's happening," he admitted, "but somehow, they're surviving this. And they're showing the galaxy that fear is optional. That, maybe, humanity has a power they don't understand themselves." In parks, streets, and homes, people laughed through fear, finding strength in each other. Children waved at the ships above, not fully understanding the danger, but instinctively challenging it. The humans' laughter became a collective signal, a declaration that Earth was not ready to bow. And somewhere in the vastness of space, the Varyan observed this planet carefully. They had intended to show humans their power, to crush them quickly and efficiently. Instead, they found themselves facing something entirely unexpected, a species that laughed in the face of doom, that mocked the impossible, that refused to submit to fear. The largest ship slowly descended closer to the Atlantic Ocean, its shadow covering thousands of square miles. Every sensor on Earth screamed danger. Yet humans kept laughing. The world had never been more alive. Dr. Rivers whispered, more to herself than anyone else. Maybe this is our power. Not strength, not weapons, but courage and laughter. As the first part of the invasion drew to a close, the alien voice returned, calmer now, almost thoughtful. These humans are unlike any species we have known. Their minds are strange. Their courage is disturbing. The screen faded to black for millions of viewers, but one question remained on everyone's mind. Why are humans laughing at the most powerful beings in the galaxy? And as the world held its collective breath, one thing was certain. The game had just begun. The morning after the alien fleet appeared, Earth was a mixture of chaos, curiosity, and unexpected humor. The massive ships hung silently above cities, their shadows stretching over oceans, mountains, and deserts. Humanity had not fallen into despair, as predicted. Instead, people were still laughing, joking, and trying to understand the invaders in their own peculiar ways. In New York City, crowds gathered in Times Square. Screens flickered with live transmissions of the largest Varyan ship, hovering like an impossible skyscraper in the sky. People were holding signs, "Do you even lift, alien?" and "Your holograms are cute." A group of teenagers had made a giant cardboard spaceship, waving it at the sky and shouting, "We're coming for you." Across the globe, similar scenes unfolded. In London, a man dressed as a superhero climbed onto a bus and shouted, "Fear us, mighty conquerors." In Tokyo, children held mock peace talks with cardboard aliens, negotiating imaginary treaties. Even soldiers on watch posts couldn't help but smile or laugh quietly at the absurdity of it all. The Varyan watched these reactions with confusion. They had intended to display power, inspire fear, and assert dominance. Yet, humans responded unpredictably. They laughed at technology meant to terrify, joked about displays of energy that could destroy continents, and even challenged the aliens in ways the invaders could not anticipate. On board the largest Varyan ship, the Supreme Observer addressed the fleet. Its voice was cold, mechanical, yet tinged with growing curiosity. "They mock us," it said. "They do not fear death. They do not respect power. They react, strangely. What is this behavior?" A junior officer responded hesitantly. "Supreme Observer, it is difficult to analyze. They are displaying behavior not recorded in our databases. Laughter, amusement, resilience. It is unprecedented." The Supreme Observer's energy core pulsed in irritation. "This is illogical. Fear should be universal. Pain should produce submission. They should comply immediately. Prepare a demonstration of superior force." Back on Earth, Dr. Elena Rivers was observing the aliens with her team. She had spent years studying signals from space, analyzing potential extraterrestrial encounters. Yet nothing had prepared her for this. She scribbled notes rapidly as she watched the humans continue their unexpected reactions. "They're not afraid," she said to her assistant. "Not even a little. Look at how they respond. They're mocking them, laughing, pointing out flaws. It's incredible." The assistant shook his head. "Incredible? It's insane. This could get us all killed." Dr. Rivers smiled faintly. "Or, it might just save us. Humans are unpredictable. They combine courage, humor, and creativity. That's something the Varyan can't calculate." Meanwhile, the aliens decided to demonstrate their power once more. Energy beams shot from the largest ship into the Pacific Ocean, creating massive waves that could have easily destroyed coastal cities. Humans paused, glancing at the destruction. For a moment, fear appeared in their eyes. But then someone shouted, "Nice try. You missed the Empire State Building." Laughter erupted again. Social media exploded with jokes about the alien attack. Memes appeared within minutes, pictures of humans dodging imaginary lasers, aliens looking confused, and captions mocking the scale of destruction. It was as if the world had chosen humor as its weapon. The Varyan tried a different tactic: intimidation through communication. Holograms appeared above major cities, showing images of devastated planets and civilizations long destroyed. The alien's voice boomed, warning humanity of the consequences of disobedience. Still, humans laughed. In Paris, a street musician played an improvised tune while pointing at the hologram. "Even their music sucks," he joked. Crowds around him laughed and clapped. In Mumbai, children threw water balloons at the projection, giggling as if it were a game. Even scientists analyzing the Varyon's energy beams couldn't help but smile at the human creativity on display. The supreme observer, observing the chaos, could not comprehend the reactions. "They are mocking us," it admitted. "They treat annihilation as entertainment. How can a species survive such absurdity?" Dr. Rivers, watching the Varyan through satellite feeds, realized that humans were displaying an instinct the aliens had never encountered: resilience through humor. "It's like a shield," she murmured. "They're fighting fear with laughter. That's why the aliens can't dominate them. They can't predict it. They don't understand it." The Varyan decided to escalate once more. This time, they projected holographic replicas of humans, demonstrating gruesome fates for those who failed to comply. The holograms were vivid and terrifying, showing destruction, famine, and despair. But humans adapted instantly. In London, a group of teenagers held up a mirror in front of the hologram and shouted, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, your plan is dumb after all." The crowd laughed hysterically. In New York, someone threw confetti at the projection, and others joined in with water guns, umbrellas, and even hats. The alien's energy pulse flickered. For the first time, a Varyan scientist expressed doubt. "Supreme Observer, their reactions, it is not fear. They do not submit. They resist through amusement. This is dangerous, unknown, and possibly a threat to our calculations." Meanwhile, Dr. Rivers noted another important factor. Humans were cooperating globally. Despite language barriers, cultural differences, and distance, they shared information, coordinated pranks, and collectively mocked the aliens' attempts at dominance. It was a form of intelligence and unity the Varyan had never predicted. She addressed a group of military leaders in a video call. "They're not just surviving. They're learning, adapting, and responding in ways we don't understand. Their humor is a strategy, a shield, and a weapon. And they are united. That combination might just save us all." Across the globe, ordinary people continued to demonstrate human ingenuity. Engineers designed simple gadgets to interfere with alien sensors, children built decoy robots to confuse holograms, and civilians created elaborate signals to mislead the fleet. Each act was small but significant, adding to the Varyon's growing frustration. The aliens, frustrated and perplexed, decided to escalate their display further. A massive storm of energy formed above the Sahara Desert, intended to demonstrate ultimate power. The storm crackled and roared, capable of erasing entire regions. Governments issued warnings, and emergency alerts blared across every continent. Yet humans reacted not with panic, but with improvisation and humor. In Cairo, a street performer used a large umbrella to deflect the energy storm, drawing laughter from nearby citizens. In Rio de Janeiro, dancers organized a flash mob in the path of the storm, waving glow sticks and making human shapes that mimicked the aliens' holograms. Videos went viral worldwide, adding to the collective amusement. Dr. Rivers, observing all this, realized that humans were using an instinct the Varyan could not predict: the ability to turn fear into laughter. It was not recklessness, it was strategy. Humor became a tool of resistance, a way to confuse, resist, and survive. The Supreme Observer, now visibly agitated, convened the Varyan Council. "This species, they do not obey. They mock our power. They laugh at annihilation. We cannot calculate their responses. Every attempt to dominate them fails in ways we cannot predict. What is this phenomenon?" A younger officer spoke hesitantly. "Supreme Observer, they may possess a type of intelligence we have never encountered. One that uses emotion and creativity, unpredictably. Their laughter may be more dangerous than our weapons." Back on Earth, humans continued to celebrate life in the face of incomprehensible power. They laughed in streets, parks, and homes. They shared jokes online, coordinated pranks, and improvised defenses. For the first time, humanity felt not just fear, but hope, resilience, and unity. The aliens attempted a final tactic for the day, a direct broadcast showing the death of a simulated city as a warning. Humans paused, then responded in unison. In cities across the globe, people lit lanterns, balloons, and fireworks, turning the alien broadcast into a human celebration. Laughter, music, and joy drowned out the message of fear. Dr. Rivers watched, smiling faintly. They're surviving not because of strength, but because of creativity, humor, and unity. That is power the Varyan cannot measure. And that might just be humanity's greatest weapon. The Supreme Observer withdrew for the night, puzzled and unsettled. Its fleet remained above Earth, silent but wary. The humans' laughter had become a signal, a warning, and a challenge all at once. As night fell, humans gathered in parks, streets, and homes. They shared stories, laughed at past jokes, and prepared for the unknown. For the first time in history, the galaxy's mightiest invaders had learned a lesson. Humans are unpredictable, irrepressible, and dangerous in ways that cannot be calculated. And as the stars shone above, reflecting on the alien ships, one question remained. How far would human laughter carry in the face of true galactic power? The days following the arrival of the Varyan fleet were unlike any in human history. The aliens had shown overwhelming power, yet humans continued to laugh, joke, and find ways to resist. Not with weapons, but with wit, creativity, and unpredictability. This behavior frustrated the Supreme Observer beyond measure. "You are a strange species," it muttered to its council. "You do not fear us. You do not obey. Yet you survive. Why?" The council debated. One officer suggested destruction, another argued for negotiation. Finally, the Supreme Observer decided on a new approach, a test. Not a battle of weapons, but a challenge of intelligence. If humans could solve the challenge, they might be allowed to survive. If they failed, annihilation would follow. Across the world, satellites and holographic projectors activated simultaneously, transmitting a message to every human. "People of Earth," the voice of the Supreme Observer boomed, translated into every language, "we offer you a chance to prove your intelligence. Solve the puzzle we present. Failure will mean the end of your species. Success may spare you. Prepare yourselves." For a moment, the world froze. Governments, scientists, and ordinary citizens stared at screens, unsure what the test would be. Then came the projection. A massive, intricate hologram appeared over major cities. The puzzle was unlike anything humans had seen, geometric shapes interlocking in impossible ways, glowing symbols that changed when touched, and floating constructs that defied gravity. Dr. Elena Rivers watched the projection with awe. "This isn't just a puzzle," she whispered. "It's a demonstration of alien thought. They're testing our logic, our creativity, and our ability to adapt. But more than that, they're testing us." People reacted in different ways. Some panicked, expecting an impossible task. Others laughed. In Tokyo, children touched the hologram, giggling as symbols rearranged in unexpected ways. In London, engineers and artists collaborated, drawing diagrams and testing ideas. In New York, teenagers formed a human chain, physically interacting with the holographic puzzle in a strange combination of logic and play. The Varyan observed, puzzled. They are attempting solutions, yet they are doing so in ways that are illogical. How can they approach a challenge without obeying conventional methods? On Earth, Dr. Rivers noticed something remarkable. Humans were not following instructions, they were improvising. They combined mathematics, intuition, humor, and randomness to solve sections of the puzzle. Some solutions were accidental, others brilliant, but all contributed to progress. In Cairo, a street performer used mirrors and reflections to redirect parts of the holographic puzzle, unintentionally revealing a hidden pattern. In Paris, a group of artists interpreted the glowing symbols as music, rearranging shapes like notes. When they played the corresponding tune, part of the puzzle shifted into place. The Varyon's systems flickered. "They are succeeding, through means we cannot calculate," said a junior officer. "How can humor, intuition, and accident result in progress? This is illogical." Meanwhile, humans began to incorporate pranks into their problem-solving. In New Delhi, students created decoy holograms to confuse parts of the puzzle, testing which sections were active. In Rio de Janeiro, engineers rigged small drones to move pieces in ways the aliens had not anticipated. Each step was met with laughter, cheers, and a growing sense of unity. Dr. Rivers realized the key to humanity's success: adaptability. While the Varyan thought in terms of rules, patterns, and strict logic, humans embraced randomness, creativity, and unpredictability. Where the aliens expected fear to dictate behavior, humor guided humans. Where they expected obedience, ingenuity thrived. Hours passed, yet the puzzle remained incomplete. Still, progress continued. The Supreme Observer's irritation grew. "They are not following instructions," it said. "They do not fear. They do not obey. Yet they advance." The aliens decided to increase the stakes. Holographic simulations showed potential destruction if the puzzle was not solved quickly. Entire cities appeared to crumble, oceans boiled, and storms ravaged landscapes. Humans paused briefly, but the response was not panic, it was clever improvisation. In New York, a group of engineers built a large-scale model of the hologram, allowing them to test solutions in the real world before applying them digitally. Children and adults alike contributed, moving pieces, experimenting, and laughing as mistakes happened. In London, a musician created rhythms based on the puzzle's glowing patterns, helping teams anticipate changes. The Supreme Observer watched in disbelief. They use art, music, and play to solve problems. Their intelligence is unlike anything we have known. They combine creativity with logic. They use humor as a tool. How is this possible? Humans continued to adapt. Accidental discoveries led to breakthroughs. Simple jokes sparked innovative strategies. In Mumbai, someone accidentally dropped a cup on a holographic platform, causing a symbol to rotate in the perfect direction. The crowd erupted in laughter and applause. By now, global communication networks were buzzing. People shared solutions, coordinated strategies, and celebrated small victories. The puzzle was no longer a test of individuals. It was a worldwide collaboration. The Varyan tried to intervene. "Increase difficulty," the Supreme Observer ordered. "Add new variables. Force them to obey or fail." Energy storms formed around holographic platforms. Symbols changed faster. Sections shifted unpredictably. Yet humans adapted again. They laughed, improvised, and coordinated. Where the aliens expected panic, humans displayed teamwork and ingenuity. In one remarkable incident, a group of teenagers in Sao Paulo created a human chain to manipulate multiple parts of the puzzle simultaneously. Their improvisation solved a section the aliens had thought unsolvable. The crowd cheered. Even soldiers watching from rooftops joined in, moving carefully to participate in the global effort. The Supreme Observer convened its council. This species, they combine creativity, humor, and unpredictability. They adapt faster than our systems can calculate. They resist fear. They resist obedience. They may be dangerous. Dr. Rivers observed the aliens' reaction. "They're learning," she said. "The Varyan are realizing that humans cannot be defeated by intimidation alone. Our unpredictability, our humor, it's part of our strength. And now, we're proving it." Humans worked through the night. Cities glowed with lights, screens displayed progress, and laughter echoed around the world. Each breakthrough, whether intentional or accidental, pushed the puzzle closer to completion. By dawn, the global effort had solved more than half of the alien puzzle. The Varyan were stunned. They solved it. Through improvisation and humor? Through mistakes and creativity? The Supreme Observer's energy core pulsed rapidly. This is unprecedented. No species has ever succeeded in such a manner. Dr. Rivers and her team celebrated cautiously. We're not safe yet, she said, but we're showing them something they didn't expect. Intelligence is not just logic. It's creativity, adaptability, and courage. The aliens decided on a final measure, a holographic simulation of Earth cities in ruin, showing human civilization destroyed if the puzzle was not solved immediately. The countdown began. Humans paused for a moment, then reacted in unison, laughing. They shared ideas, improvised, and collaborated. The countdown became irrelevant. In Tokyo, a child shouted, "We've got this!" In Paris, engineers and artists combined their efforts. In Cairo, performers used light and mirrors to redirect parts of the hologram. Globally, humans united, their laughter and creativity forming a web of resistance that the Varyan could not calculate or predict. Finally, after hours of effort, improvisation, mistakes, and creative problem-solving, the puzzle shifted. Pieces fell into place. Symbols glowed brightly. The hologram stabilized. Humanity had succeeded. The Supreme Observer's voice trembled slightly. They solved it. Not through fear, not through obedience, not through strength. They adapted. They used their creativity. They laughed. On Earth, people cheered. Fireworks, music, and laughter filled the streets. Humans had passed the test, not by following rules, but by being themselves, unpredictable, creative, and united. Dr. Rivers smiled, knowing this was only the beginning. We've shown them something they didn't understand. Humans are clever, adaptable, and unstoppable when we work together. Above, the Varyan fleet hovered silently. For the first time, they hesitated. They had faced civilizations across the galaxy, but none had reacted like this. None had resisted in this strange combination of humor, intelligence, and unpredictability. Earth had survived not because of power, but because of humanity itself. And as the sun rose over a world united in laughter and relief, one question lingered in the minds of both humans and aliens. What would happen next when humans' true potential was tested further? The world had never felt more alive. After passing the Varyon's intelligence test, humans gained a strange confidence. The alien fleet still hovered above cities, massive and silent, but humanity had shown it could resist. Fear had been replaced with laughter, courage, and creativity. People were no longer just surviving, they were beginning to fight back. In New York, crowds gathered in Times Square, pointing at the largest alien ship above. "Hey, remember that puzzle?" shouted a teenager. "We aced it. Let's see what else they've got." Laughter rippled through the city, a strange weapon against the incomprehensible power above. Dr. Elena Rivers observed global communications. "Passing the test was only the start," she said to her team. "Now humans are learning from their reactions. They're beginning to anticipate alien moves, adapt, and even counteract them." Humans' first tactic was observation and misdirection. Across continents, people used drones, mirrors, and simple signals to confuse the alien sensors. In Cairo, a group of engineers built a series of reflective panels that bounced alien energy beams harmlessly into the sky. Children in Tokyo waved colorful flags, which somehow interfered with holographic projections, causing the aliens to miscalculate patterns. The Varyan were growing frustrated. The Supreme Observer's voice rang across its fleet. "They resist without weapons. They manipulate the environment. They predict some of our actions. How is this possible?" A junior officer replied nervously, "Supreme Observer, they are unpredictable. They use humor, creativity, and cooperation in ways our simulations cannot replicate. They turn defense into offense." Indeed, humans began turning the aliens' power against them. In London, engineers and artists collaborated to analyze the energy patterns from Varyan weapons. They discovered that by reflecting beams at specific angles, they could overload parts of the holographic projections, temporarily disabling sections of alien sensors. In Mumbai, students created decoy devices that mimicked city signals, confusing alien targeting systems. Even humor became a strategic weapon. In São Paulo, performers dressed as aliens and imitated their movements. The Varjan fleet sensors reacted to these mimics, wasting energy on false targets. Social media exploded with videos of people mocking alien demonstrations, creating global morale that strengthened the collective resistance. Dr. Rivers watched, amazed. "They're not just surviving anymore," she said. "They're learning from the aliens, adapting, and turning intelligence into action. This is a true demonstration of HFY, humans fighting back in ways the galaxy didn't expect." The Varjan decided to escalate. A fleet-wide energy storm formed above the Pacific Ocean, capable of wiping out entire coastal regions. Humanity responded creatively. Sailboats, ships, and drones formed patterns to redirect the storm harmlessly. Engineers built reflective shields, while children and adults coordinated signals to guide the energy safely into uninhabited areas. The Supreme Observer was bewildered. "They adapt faster than we anticipate. Every attempt to intimidate results in improvisation. They are dangerous in ways we did not predict." Humans, however, were not reckless. Coordination and ingenuity dominated their response. Each group improvised, shared strategies through global communication networks, and celebrated small victories. Even simple laughter became a morale booster. In New Delhi, someone shouted, "We're too weird to fail." The phrase spread worldwide. Next, humans began mental challenges against the Varjan. They studied alien behavior, patterns, and communication. Using basic mathematics, logic, and creativity, scientists discovered ways to exploit weaknesses in the alien sensors and holographic projections. In New York, a team created a rudimentary signal jamming system using common electronics, causing alien holograms to glitch. Across continents, similar actions created confusion within the fleet. The aliens tried to retaliate by sending probes into major cities. Humans responded with ingenuity rather than force. In Cairo, a street performer's kite accidentally knocked a probe off course, sending it into a park fountain. In London, children launched balloons that interfered with holographic beams. Every attack by the aliens was met with clever improvisation, turning danger into amusement. Dr. Rivers noted something extraordinary. Humans were learning faster than the aliens anticipated. Where the Varjan relied on brute strength, humans relied on unpredictability, creativity, and adaptability. Every experiment by the aliens was countered with human ingenuity, often through humor or accidental brilliance. The Supreme Observer convened a council meeting. "This species, they are resilient, creative, and adaptive. They do not obey our logic. They manipulate our power. How can a species so small challenge a fleet capable of destroying worlds?" One officer spoke cautiously. "Supreme Observer, they are dangerous not because of weapons, but because of unpredictability. Their intelligence combines creativity, cooperation, and humor. It resists domination." Above Earth, humans continued to innovate. In Tokyo, a team of engineers built a mirror array that reflected alien energy into space, creating temporary blackouts in sensors. In Paris, a group of artists used light projections to disrupt holograms, turning alien warnings into colorful displays that confused the fleet. In Rio de Janeiro, children rigged drones with balloons and flags, causing holographic projections to misfire. Humans began coordinating globally, forming a network of improvisation, humor, and intelligence. What had started as random laughter and creativity had evolved into a strategy, a mental strike against an alien power that relied on fear and domination. The Supreme Observer became increasingly unsettled. "They coordinate across the planet. They communicate, adapt, and turn our demonstrations into performances. Every calculation fails. Every threat is met with innovation. How can such small creatures defy logic?" Dr. Rivers realized the significance. The aliens can't predict humans because humans don't follow predictable patterns. They improvise. They adapt. They laugh. And that unpredictability is our greatest weapon. As the day progressed, humans escalated further. Engineers developed simple yet effective tools to manipulate alien energy. Artists and performers continued to create distractions. Social media became a global communication network for improvisation, sharing ideas, warnings, and victories in real time. Humor, creativity, and intelligence worked together to neutralize alien power without a single human casualty. In Washington, leaders and scientists held a meeting. "We're not just surviving," said Dr. Rivers. "We're striking back mentally." The Varyan expected fear. We gave them laughter, creativity, and strategy. That is more dangerous than any weapon they can deploy. The Supreme Observer attempted one last psychological tactic. Holograms of destroyed cities, simulations of human suffering, and visual threats were projected over major metropolises. But humans adapted instantly. In New Delhi, children used mirrors and lanterns to redirect the projections. In New York, performers turned the holograms into mock battles for entertainment. Laughter and ingenuity neutralized fear once more. Across the globe, humans were united not just in survival, but in active resistance. The planet became a stage for creativity, humor, and intelligence, a living demonstration of the HFY spirit. Every attack was countered, every threat improvised around, and every display of alien power met with innovation. Finally, the Supreme Observer acknowledged the truth. This species is unlike any we have faced. They resist not through strength, but through intellect, humor, and cooperation. They are dangerous in ways our weapons cannot measure. Dr. Rivers looked out at the night sky, watching the alien ships hover silently above cities filled with laughter and lights. "We've turned fear into strategy," she whispered. "We've turned laughter into defense. And we've shown the galaxy that humans are not just survivors, they are clever, adaptable, and unstoppable when united." Above Earth, the Varyan fleet remained, massive and silent, but wary. They had faced countless civilizations, yet none had responded like this. None had resisted mental and strategic pressure without fear or submission. Humans had turned every demonstration of power into a test of creativity and humor, and were winning. As night fell across continents, humans celebrated in parks, streets, and homes. Fireworks, music, and laughter filled the air. They had not only survived the Varyan's tests, they had challenged them, adapted, and struck back mentally. The world had discovered a new kind of power, one that relied on unity, intelligence, and unpredictability. And somewhere in the vastness of space, the Supreme Observer reflected on the lesson Earth had taught the galaxy. Humans are not to be underestimated. Not because of weapons, but because of courage, intelligence, and humor combined. The first wave of the Varyan's plans had failed. Humanity had not only survived, but had begun to rewrite the rules of engagement, showing that mental and creative strategies could defeat even the most overwhelming power. Dr. Rivers smiled, knowing that the next challenge would come, and that humans were ready. Not with fear, not with weapons, but with imagination, unity, and laughter. And as the night sky shimmered with alien ships and human lights below, one thought echoed across the planet. The fight was far from over, but humans had learned how to turn the galaxy's greatest threat into an opportunity for triumph. The world had changed. Humans had survived the Varyan's arrival, passed their intelligence test, and even struck back mentally using humor, creativity, and unpredictability. Cities were alive with laughter, celebrations, and clever improvisations, yet the alien fleet still hovered above, massive and silent, observing every move. Dr. Elena Rivers stood on a rooftop in New York City, watching the largest Varyan ship block the sun. "We've done the impossible so far," she told her assistant, "but this is just the beginning. We need to show them that humans are not only unpredictable, but capable of triumph beyond calculation." The Varyan, meanwhile, convened their council aboard the largest ship. The Supreme Observer spoke gravely. "We underestimated this species. Their intelligence combines creativity, humor, and resilience. They defy our predictions. Their unity, is formidable. They may be more dangerous than any civilization we have faced. A young officer hesitated. Supreme Observer, perhaps we misjudged them. Their laughter, their ingenuity, it's not fearlessness. It's strategy. The Supreme Observer's core pulsed with uncertainty. Strategy. By laughing at annihilation? How can amusement be dangerous? Above Earth, humans were preparing for a final demonstration, one that would prove not just survival, but dominance in spirit. From Tokyo to London, Paris to Cairo, Rio to New York, people coordinated. Engineers, scientists, artists, performers, and ordinary citizens worked together. They combined light, mirrors, drones, fireworks, holograms, and sound to create a massive display, an improvisation that would showcase human ingenuity, courage, and unity. In New Delhi, children painted large signs with humorous messages aimed at the aliens. In São Paulo, performers synchronized their movements to redirect holographic projections. In New York, engineers activated reflective arrays, bouncing alien energy beams into the sky. Every step was carefully chaotic, an unpredictable mix of strategy, humor, and teamwork. The Varyan observed, confused and alarmed. "They are coordinating again," muttered an officer. "But in ways that defy logic. They are unpredictable. Their unity is not based on fear, it is based on creativity and determination." Dr. Rivers knew this would be the decisive moment. "They think power is everything," she said to her team. "We'll show them humans can resist, and even triumph, without a single weapon. Not by force, but by intelligence, humor, and unity." The display began. In cities across the globe, humans activated synchronized systems that manipulated holograms, redirected energy beams, and created illusions the Varyan could not calculate. Fireworks painted the night sky, reflecting off mirrored shields and drone arrays, producing a spectacle so complex that alien sensors struggled to comprehend it. Holographic projections of destroyed cities were turned into comic performances. Drones danced through energy beams, redirecting them harmlessly. Musicians created rhythms that influenced the timing of alien systems, causing temporary malfunctions. Children ran playful obstacles across streets, confusing sensors. Even ordinary citizens contributed with makeshift signals, improvised mirrors, and spontaneous choreography. The Varyan tried to react, escalating holograms, sending energy pulses, and projecting destructive simulations. But every demonstration was met with a human response: humor, improvisation, and creativity. One energy pulse was reflected harmlessly into space by a group of engineers in Cairo. A hologram of an exploding city became a stage for performers in Rio. A massive beam in London was bounced using mirrors and balloons, disrupting alien calculations. The Supreme Observer's energy core pulsed violently. They are not afraid. They are turning our power against us, without weapons. An officer whispered, "Supreme Observer, they are teaching us something. Their courage, creativity, humor, is formidable. They are dangerous." Across the globe, the human display reached its peak. Fireworks, lights, music, and laughter filled the night. Drones maneuvered in complex patterns, reflective panels redirected beams, and holograms were manipulated into playful performances that confused alien sensors. Every city contributed to a global orchestra of ingenuity. Dr. Rivers smiled faintly. They came for fear, for domination, for compliance. Instead, we gave them laughter, intelligence, and unity. That's our power. The Supreme Observer convened the council. We must reconsider. This species, they have survived through courage, creativity, and adaptability. They have resisted our strongest demonstrations. They are unpredictable, unstoppable in ways we cannot calculate. Perhaps we should withdraw. An officer nodded. Supreme Observer, they are not merely surviving. They are thriving. They may have reached a level of ingenuity that even we cannot anticipate. They have triumphed. For the first time, the Varyan hesitated. The largest ship hovered silently above the Atlantic Ocean, its massive hull reflecting the lights of Earth below. The fleet had planned to intimidate, conquer, and destroy, but now they faced something entirely new. A species that could resist not through brute force, but through intelligence, humor, and creativity. Across the world, humans continued their celebrations. Cities glowed with light and sound, laughter echoed from every street, and screens displayed global coordination. It was a testament to human ingenuity, unity, and courage. Dr. Rivers reflected on the moment. "We've done more than survive," she said softly. "We've shown them that humans are clever, adaptable, and unpredictable. We've turned fear into laughter, oppression into ingenuity. That is what makes us strong." The Supreme Observer addressed the Varyan fleet. "This species has shown resilience beyond calculation. Their intelligence combines creativity, humor, and courage. They are dangerous. We retreat. We will leave this planet, for now. But we have learned something important. They cannot be predicted. They cannot be controlled. They are remarkable." And with that, the Varyan fleet slowly began to retreat into the darkness of space. Massive shadows lifted from Earth, and humanity looked up at the night sky, amazed, victorious, and united. The invaders had come to show power, but humans had shown something far greater: the strength of courage, creativity, unity, and humor. Celebrations erupted across the globe. Streets were filled with laughter, music, and improvised performances. Children danced in parks, engineers coordinated light displays, and ordinary citizens shared joy and creativity. Fireworks lit the night sky, reflecting humanity's triumph in colors that even the Varyan could not calculate. Dr. Rivers stood with her team, observing the global spectacle. "We survived. We triumphed. Not through weapons or fear, but through intelligence, humor, and unity. That is human power." Even as the Varyan retreated, one thing was clear: Earth had demonstrated the HFY spirit. Humans could survive, resist, and triumph against forces far beyond their comprehension. And the galaxy, for the first time, had learned to respect the unpredictability and ingenuity of humanity. As night fell over a world united in celebration, laughter, and ingenuity, one thought echoed across the planet. Humans were not merely survivors, they were clever, resilient, and unstoppable. And this was only the beginning. The stars shone above, reflecting human cities below. Humanity had proven its power, not through domination or weapons, but through courage, creativity, and humor. And somewhere in the silent expanse of space, the Varyan pondered a lesson they would never forget: never underestimate a species that laughs in the face of the impossible.